It's strange to think that just 3 years ago I believed we were building a happy life together. I met Nathan at a friend's party, one I didn't even want to attend. He was there for the same reason. Neither of us really fit into the loud, crowded room, and maybe that's why we found each other. He was quiet, thoughtful, easy to talk to. We started with simple things, hobbies, childhood stories, but soon we were talking about the future, about the kind of life we wanted. Back then I thought I had found peace in him. Someone I could build a home with. We got married just a few weeks later. It was fast, too fast, but I didn't question it. I felt like I was living in a dream, like we were writing our own story. But about a month after we moved in together, everything started to change. Nathan wasn't the same anymore. The warmth faded. The kindness disappeared. Evenings turned into long, quiet waits for him to come home. And then one night everything shifted for good. "Emma, I want you to quit your job." His voice was firm. I froze. "What? Why?" "When you work, I feel like I don't have a place in this family," he said. There was something uneasy in his eyes. "At my company all the wives stay home. I don't want to be the only one whose wife doesn't." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Since when did he care so much about what other people thought? We had agreed, before marriage, that we would both work, that we would build our future together. But now he wanted me to give it all up for appearances. "I need time to think," I said quietly. But time didn't help. If anything, it made things worse. Nathan kept pushing. Every time I hesitated, he made sure I felt it. Every morning he'd sit on the couch watching me get ready for work with that same cold expression. Sometimes he'd say things like, "If you really cared about this family, you'd stay." Or, "You're too focused on yourself." I started to feel trapped. My job wasn't just a paycheck. It was my independence. My identity. The one place where I felt like myself. But to Nathan it was a threat. I went to Sophie, my manager, for advice. She had been through a difficult marriage herself, and she understood more than I expected. "You don't have to give up your life to make someone else comfortable," she told me. "If you give in now, it won't stop here." Her words stayed with me. I tried to find a compromise. Maybe working part-time, maybe from home. Something that would calm things down. But deep down I knew the truth. The problem wasn't my job. It was Nathan. Till I tried. One morning I sat across from him at our small kitchen table. Sunlight came through the window, but it didn't make the room feel any lighter. "I've thought about it," I said, breaking the silence. "I'll reduce my hours. Work part-time. I can spend more time at home." Nathan looked up, something like relief in his eyes, but his face stayed guarded. "Really?" he asked. "You'll do that?" "Yes," I said. That I nodded and forced a small, convincing smile. "I talked to Sophie," I said. "She agreed to let me switch to 4 days a week. Just from 9 to 2. That way I can be home more, help with dinner, take care of things here." Nathan set his spoon down, his expression finally softening. "I really appreciate that, Emma," he said. "I knew you'd understand me." I smiled back, but inside something didn't feel right. Yes, I had calmed him, for now. But I also knew this wasn't the end. So I did what I had learned to do. I told him what he wanted to hear, while quietly protecting myself. In reality, I never left my job. On paper, I reduced my hours. But behind the scenes, I kept working full-time and took on remote projects. Sophie helped me keep it hidden. She understood. She'd lived through something similar. For a few weeks, everything seemed fine. Nathan was happier seeing me home more often. But then the demands started. He began inviting colleagues and friends over almost every weekend. "You don't need to do anything complicated," he'd say casually. "Just a few simple dishes." But the moment guests arrived, his expectations changed. Everything had to be perfect. The food, the table, the way I spoke, the way I smiled. What started as occasional dinners turned into a routine. Once a week, then twice. My weekends disappeared. Instead of resting, I became a hostess in my own home, serving, cleaning, smiling on command. And if something wasn't right, Nathan didn't hesitate to point it out. Even in front of others. Little comments. Quiet corrections. Just enough to make me feel small. Like I didn't belong in my own life. Then I started noticing other things. Strange things. Sometimes his clothes carried a perfume that wasn't mine. Sweet. Unfamiliar. When I asked, he brushed it off with a laugh. "Probably just someone at work," he'd say. "You're overthinking." Then came the late nights. The calls. The messages. Excuses about meetings, deadlines, unexpected plans. One night he fell asleep on the couch. His phone rang. The name on the screen said Jessica. I reached to silence it, and a message popped up. I miss you. When are you coming over? My heart dropped. In that moment, every doubt I had became real. After that, I paid attention. I started noticing patterns. Tracking his late nights. Saving messages. Even taking pictures of lipstick stains I found on his collars. I needed proof. And eventually, I had enough. But I never got the chance to confront him first. Because one evening Nathan walked in, tossed his jacket onto a chair and looked straight at me. You need to leave, he said flatly. I'll change the locks tomorrow. For a second I couldn't process it. What? You heard me, he said coldly. We're done. Pack your things. I don't want you here when I get back. Something inside me cracked, but I held it together. This is because of her, isn't it? I said quietly. Jessica. His expression flickered for just a moment, then hardened again. Stop acting like you know everything, he said. Just go before things get messy. I stood there numb. All the memories, the plans, the promises, gone. Just like that. Everything I had done to hold this marriage together, all it had done was delay the inevitable. Fine, I said, my voice steady. I'll go. I picked up my bag slowly, then looked at him one last time. But you're going to regret this. He didn't react. Didn't even look back. Just walked away. And as I stood there alone in what used to be my home, I realized something clearly for the first time. If I left now, I wasn't coming back. I wasn't going to be the woman he controlled, lied to, and replaced. And more than anything, I wasn't going to let him walk away from this without consequences. That I started packing my things. Not because I was broken, but because I was ready. Ready to begin again. Ready to stop being a background character in someone else's life. I moved through the house slowly, gathering what was mine. The place that once felt like home now felt empty. The wedding photos, the decorations I had carefully chosen, they were just objects now. No warmth. No meaning. And strangely, I didn't cry. Maybe I had already cried enough before this moment. Maybe there was nothing left. As the sun set, painting the room in soft orange light, I sat at my desk and reviewed the divorce papers one last time. Everything was prepared. Financial records, proof of Nathan's affair with Jessica, every detail in order. I wanted it clean. Quick. Final. Just like the way he had told me to leave. The next morning I sent the documents through my lawyer and walked out of that house without a word. No goodbye. No explanation. Just silence. A few days later my lawyer called. Nathan had received the papers. He didn't argue. Didn't try to stop it. He just told them I should move out quickly so he could move on. That was all I needed to hear. I moved into a small apartment on the outskirts of the city. It wasn't big, but it was bright. Peaceful. Every morning, sunlight came through the windows and I could see trees swaying outside. For the first time in a long time I could breathe. I went back to work full-time. Sophie and my coworkers welcomed me like nothing had changed, but everything had. I was different. Stronger. Lighter. I started living for myself again. Yoga classes. Coffee with friends. Quiet evenings without tension hanging in the air. Freedom felt unfamiliar at first, but then it felt right. Until one Saturday morning. I was curled up under a blanket when the doorbell rang. I checked the camera. And my heart nearly stopped. Nathan. He looked nothing like the man I used to know. His clothes were wrinkled, his hair messy, his face tired. Like he hadn't slept in days. Emma opened the door. It's me. His voice came through the speaker, desperate. I took a deep breath. Then I answered calmly. Sorry. You've got the wrong person. Stop it, Emma. I need to talk to you. Please. You have the wrong address, I said, steady and cold. I don't know you. He looked confused. Pressed the bell again. Don't do this. I've lost everything. Jessica, she lied to me. I have nowhere to go. I watched him through the screen. For a moment I saw it clearly, everything he had become. Everything he had lost. And for the first time, I felt nothing. What does that have to do with me? I replied. I'm not the person you're looking for. He sat down on the steps, defeated. Muttering to himself. Waiting. Hoping. But I didn't move. I didn't open the door. After 15 minutes he stood up. Before leaving, he looked at the camera one last time, like he expected me to change my mind. I didn't. When he finally walked away, I let out a slow breath. It was over. But a few minutes later, my phone rang. It was Deborah, his mother. "Emma, I heard Nathan came to see you. Is he okay?" she asked, worried. "He left," I said. "I didn't open the door." "You did the right thing," she replied softly. Then she added something I didn't expect. "The house, it's yours now. I transferred it to you when I found out about Jessica." I went silent. I knew she was disappointed in Nathan, but I hadn't expected this. "Thank you," I said quietly. "I'll take care of it." "I know you will," she sighed. "Nathan has to face his own consequences now." After the call, I sat in the quiet of my apartment, letting everything settle. All the pain, the betrayal, the years I had spent trying to hold something broken together. And now, peace. Real peace. Outside, sunlight spread across the trees. I took a sip of my tea and let the moment sink in. Sometimes you have to walk through darkness to find the light. And for the first time, I could finally see mine. In the days that followed, I started hearing more about Nathan. Things I never expected, but somehow didn't surprise me. Photos of him and Jessica had spread online. Lavish trips. Expensive dinners. She had posted everything, proudly showing off the life he paid for. And when it all came crashing down, she walked away with almost everything he had, leaving him exactly where he once left me. With nothing. Nathan's life unraveled faster than I expected. The company he worked for had strict rules about behavior and public image. His affair, especially the way it played out online, didn't sit well with management. They warned him more than once, but nothing changed. Eventually they asked him to resign. Just like that, he lost his job. And without it, everything else started falling apart. He had always been proud of his position, his stability, his status. But once that was gone, he struggled to find anything new. His reputation followed him, closing doors before they even opened. Then Jessica left too. The moment the money disappeared, so did she. No goodbye. No explanation. Just gone. I later heard from a mutual friend that Nathan couldn't even keep up with rent. He was evicted, moving from place to place, slowly fading into the background of a city where he once felt important. A shadow of who he used to be. As for me, I focused on finishing what I had started. The divorce moved quickly. With solid evidence and my lawyer's help, I secured a settlement of $410,000. On top of that, we uncovered hidden assets, adding another $22,000. But more than the money, it gave me closure. A clean break. I used part of it to stabilize my life, and the rest to invest in myself. I took courses, built new skills, and opened doors that once felt out of reach. At work, things changed too. I was more focused, more confident. My efforts didn't go unnoticed. Colleagues respected me, and my managers saw the difference. Sophie especially stood by me through everything. Always encouraging, always reminding me of what I was capable of. Nathan's mother, Deborah, stayed in my life. She knew what her son had done, and she didn't try to defend it. Instead, she showed up in the only way that mattered, with honesty and kindness. We started meeting on weekends, usually at a small cafe near my apartment. She'd bring homemade pastries and we'd sit by the window talking about simple things. Her garden, old memories, life moving forward. One morning she looked at me and said softly, "You've become so strong, Emma. I'm really proud of you." I smiled. "I just did what I had to," I replied. "Life's too short to hold on to what hurts you." And I meant it. Because by then Nathan was no longer part of my world. The updates about him became fewer. Then stopped completely. I didn't know where he was anymore. And I didn't care. My life had moved on. I filled my days with things that mattered. Work, friendships, small adventures. I joined community events, met new people, even started traveling to places I had once only dreamed about. For the first time, being alone didn't feel lonely. It felt free. Every morning, I woke up in my sunlit apartment with a sense of peace I had never known before. Not because of the money. Not even because things were finally calm. But because I had changed. I had chosen myself. I was no longer the woman who stayed, who endured, who shrank to fit someone else's expectations. I was someone stronger now. Someone who knew her worth. And as I looked ahead, I wasn't afraid anymore. Because I understood something I hadn't before. Sometimes, the only way to find real happiness is to let go of everything that was never meant for you.